What's happening, boys? It was all good?
Good. Aye.
Aye, all back to normal.
Back to normal. Season's back. Feel good factor's back. What a time to be alive, Tammy.
I know. Happy Clapping Hearts is back, as I said.
I know.
Buzzing.
Unbelievable 0-0 win on Saturday. What it does for the confidence, win it?
To be fair,
Gets you sky high, like.
we're going to win the league. We're going to win the lot. We've had a European draw. We're class. We're good.
Honestly, the sky is the limit. It's amazing what a 0-0 draw can do for you, Kevin. It
sure is, mate. It sure is. I'll not pop the balloon as it is at the moment. But we'll get into that on about Saturday's game. But aye, it's good to be back in the boozer for before 10 a.m. in the morning on a Saturday. What else do you want?
It's true. We need to ask you about, did you get stuck in a chair or something, Kev?
No.
Yeah, that's absolutely not true.
I put my foot down to try and get across the chair and got my shoe stuck. That was it.
Oh, right, okay.
Unreal.
Just somebody might have tweeted us asking to bring it up. So.
All right. Who was it? Tell me.
You were spotted, Kev, being a drunken mess. Just own your mistakes. Right. We'll go over Saturday's opening game of the season. 0-0 draw with Rangers at home. Pretty entertaining. 0-0 to be fair, as 0-0s go. Go over the match. Talk about our headlines. Everything that's happened in the world of Hearts this week, because of transfer windows opening, as the way these things are. There's always rapid news, so we'll cover all the new stuff that's happened, and then we'll look forward to this Saturday's game. Strangely, a 5:30 kickoff, isn't it? It's not on the telly or that, though, is it?
I don't know. I did wonder why it was that.
I think it is. I thought it was.
Oh, is it one of these Premier Sports games? You know, the new, how they've got
new package.
There you go.
That's my understanding.
You know about a package, Kev, don't you? You love a package.
Fucking right. Right, just wish I had one myself.
You flipping right, Kev. Right. Tam, how was your weekend?
It was good, aye. Just it was good to be back at Tynecastle. You were the same as me, having an absolute nightmare trying to get through. So the festival or whatever can get in the bin, Truckfest, everything that went with that. So that was fun. But it was good. Good atmosphere, good game. Enjoyed it. And then done nothing else, to be honest.
We were obviously, last week we'd said on the podcast that we were going to try, and we genuinely are going to try for the home games. We'll see how we can make it work for the away games. We're going to try and do a bit of a live to YouTube pre-game, post-game broadcast. But Saturday when I was coming into the game, like many Hearts fans and Rangers fans, I was stuck in the M8 for at least an hour. Pretty bad accident, so hopefully everybody that was involved is okay. But that, I mean, I didn't get to Tynecastle until literally the team's coming out the tunnel, essentially. So we'll try, and then obviously the euphoria and 0-0 draw, it just wasn't right to jump on and broadcast after such a massive high and massive result. But we'll get back to it. Probably trial it at the Dundee United game. So you've got to look forward to that nonsense before a game. We can ruin your game and we can ruin after the game for you. Kev, how was your weekend?
It was good, mate. As I say, I was up early and felt like a little bit like a 50-year-old or near 50-year-old on Christmas Day. It was like that for me. Always fine first game of seasons. It's where you come in with all this hope that the season ahead is going to be absolutely fantastic, and 9 times out of 10 we shit all over our parade. But thankfully, not on this occasion.
Yep, I'm the same. I do enjoy first game of the season's always exciting. It's always good to be back at Tynecastle as well. So it was good to be back.
Can I ask you a question, Corbett? Because
yes.
Paul that sits next to me does listen to the podcast. He was like, "Is Corbett there today?" I was like, "You will see him, but he's probably just head and hands." And then about a second later, you just stood up. But then you went straight back to head and hands. Did you enjoy the game, or did you see it?
I was all right. I wasn't head and hands. I was just sitting on the back of the seat. But I was all right. I was fine.
Okay, good.
I was fine on Saturday.
We were just a bit worried about your blood pressure, so I'm glad.
Well, there was moments. My favourite bit was Kairos. We were first half, ball was going out for a by kick, easy, no hassle whatsoever. And he decided to stop it going out for a by kick to us, held on to it for way too long, let Rangers press, play the hospital ball, to Xander Clark, who had to give him a hospital ball back, and then he just rifled the ball into the middle of the park, straight to Rangers, who played 2 passes and flashed the ball across the goal and almost scored from absolutely nothing. And I was like, oh, fantastic. Are we going to... Is this what we're doing again this season, is it?
Hearts are back, baby.
Hearts are back. Hearts are back. But anyway, that was the only negative point of the game, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in a minute. But we'll talk about Hearts headlines first. So, Andy Salazar, Colombian left back, at the Orium. I think working visas and stuff like that is pretty much, I think, what's holding up the announcements. We're looking forward to yet more South Americans, Tam?
Absolutely. I think that should be our signing policy from now on. All South Americans.
Yes.
All for it.
I'm right there with you. Kev, are you well versed in how Andy Salazar's been playing? Colombian international, played against the world's best Iraq.
Well, if that is the case, that is exactly the kind of market we should be going after. But now, by all accounts, it does appear that not only is he a half-decent player, it does sound like he's got a little bit of a interesting past. Did I not read something about some sort of sex video as well that he's been involved in?
Kev, you're
so he is right up our street.
Yes. Yeah, like Pinilla, get him up George Street
Exactly.
on a Saturday night.
Absolutely.
Scalping rats and scoring goals. That's all I care about, man. Get him up there. I'm all for it. I want that. That's what
exactly what should actually be in our LinkedIn profile of what we're looking for in a new football player.
We serious conversation though. I thought Penrice was really good on Saturday. Given what we'd seen, I know we'd spoke last week about the pre-season results, performances and all that, and we've made it abundantly clear to anybody that's paying attention that we didn't care about results. Performances build momentum. Like, for example, right now, we're heading into Saturday with loads to be positive about because we've seen loads and loads and loads of stuff. We could see the shape, we could see what we're trying to do, made improvements on how we played against Rangers last year, learned from our mistakes at points versus Rangers last year. So, yeah, it was really good, and I liked the fact that this season we're going to play 3 at the back or whatever our idea is. The whole point of that is to have overlapping wing backs, and Taylor on one side, Penrice on the other, especially in that opening 20-25 minutes. They caused Rangers nothing but problems. So be good to see. Obviously we've lost Cochrane, and it's good to have competition for spaces, Tam, in it.
Absolutely. And to be honest with you, the biggest compliment you could give to Penrice is I didn't really see a particular drop off with Cochrane not being there. There was maybe a bit of quality at the end product or whatever, but he was just as athletic, just as getting in about it, and he was unlucky with the chance and the save that Butland made. But I've seen a few comments on Twitter about competition for places, and we genuinely do have a good deputy for each position now. And you looked at the bench on Saturday, and it was some of them could have been starting, and we've not had that for a long time, that sort of squad depth. So it's really good to see.
Aye, and I think what I liked about Penrice as well is he won his fair share of headers as well. We were leaving him last man at the back when we had corners and stuff, so he acquitted himself really well, which was good. We'll talk about it when we talk about the Rangers review, Kev, but a lot of the stuff that Tam just mentioned there, we look at Vargas, bit Shankland, a bit rusty with decision makings, or maybe picking just the wrong options at the last time. All that stuff comes from games and match sharpness, but the early signs there for Penrice was very promising performance, wasn't it?
Aye, I think I said it was last week. I hadn't seen enough of him in games where we played Livy, and I think the last game we played against Livy, he never actually played. I know we were 2-0 down after like 15-20 minutes or something like that, but I thought his performance on Saturday was good. The only question I maybe have of it is the fact that your first game at Tynecastle, a proper game at Tynecastle, it's against Rangers. So I think every player would be up for not only your first game, but your first game at home against a club like Rangers are. What's he going to be like? Is he going to have that same momentum? Is he going to have that same work ethic against a Dundee United, a Ross County, whatever it may be? But all signs so far look like, they look promising. And from that point of view, You're bringing in Salazar as well as competition for him. And he can maybe learn off him. I know there's not much difference in regards to ages, but it's definitely something to be considered.
So I actually counter that and say that I'm more worried about that type of thing for raising your game for like your Taylor, etc. That's come from a different league who's maybe came here thinking playing against Rangers and Celtic, that's what gets me moves to the bigger bit. I think your Spittles, Dander, Penrice have coming from playing in front of 1,500 people Penrice week in, week out if you're lucky at Livingston.
Don't know.
300,
what's the normal?
300 away fans for a game. Dander, same with Ross County. You're lucky if he's played in front of 2,000-3,000 a week, other than when Celtic Rangers are big teams like us and Aberdeen go up there. And then same with Spittle. I think they'll be, when they walk out on Saturday, for example, and there's 3,000, 3,500 Hearts fans behind the goal, that's more than you get in a Livingston home game. It's more than Ross County getting a home game. So I think those players, they'll be buzzing for that. But like you said, maybe if there'll be a drop off, I'd be more worried about the guys that maybe don't know the league. But it's a fair comment, because I said to my dad on the way home on Saturday, the thing that always kills me with Hearts, where you get a performance, maybe not the result for Saturday, but the performance in terms of the shape, the intensity, the aggression, being at it as much as we possibly could, is that if we did that every week against everyone else in the league, you wouldn't have the argument or the conversation about Hearts finish third season after season. It would be, can Hearts go on and do more than finishing third? Because nobody could compete with us. If we play the opening 25 minutes of the game on Saturday at Dundee, we'll be 2 or 3-0 up. They won't be able to handle the tempo and the aggression that we played with. So, but yeah, Salazar should probably be announced pretty soon. I think these things, working visas, I think Hearts have been pretty sensible trying to get them into the country so that we can avoid the Tagawa stuff that we remember from last year, where we signed Tagawa but we couldn't register him to play, was it Rosenborg or whatever it was, because he hadn't been in Scotland long enough and stuff. So we've got Salazar over as quickly as we possibly can, and I think it's just a case of a bit like Boateng, it's trying to get everything sorted in the background. So we just spoke about it as well. Saturday before the game kicked off, Hearts finally announced that we signed Boateng. Is he on loan or we sign him on an actual deal?
3 years.
3 year deal.
Came for Crystal Palace, didn't he?
Yep. Been at Dundee and Queen's Park before that.
Thoughts on him? I think remember seeing him last year play against us for Dundee and was pretty impressed by him. But again, a bit like you and Penrice, Kev, I can't say I've seen hundreds of them. But again, another good signing to boost the squad that knows the league, Cam.
Absolutely. I think, again, it comes to that fact, signing players that know the league when we've got that Europe on a Thursday, league on a Sunday, can only help us. I'm similar to you. I actually don't remember him at all, to be honest, which probably sums me up more than anything. But Dundee fans seem to like him, so that's a good sign for me.
Yeah, they don't seem very happy that we've managed to get him in. Positional, we expecting them to play in the 6 where cover for Benny. Is that what we're expecting them?
It's either cover for Benny or it's actual replacement for Benny, given the fact of, unfortunately, how injury prone he's been over the last 2-3 seasons.
I think it's cover for George Grant for me, to be honest, after Saturday.
Well, for the fact that God or Jesus can turn water into wine, cure blindness and save lepers and that, how can he not fix Benny? How's he always injured, man? Jane, if he's not going to go to a normal physio and he's going to go to the man upstairs, the man upstairs fixing everybody. You can get feed.
Jesus Christ.
He can feed all the fish and all that and rivers that haven't got them, but he can't fix Benny's calf. Come on. He needs to pray harder or something. I'm only kidding on. For everybody offended, I'm joking, obviously.
Go to Corbett's stand-up Fringe show this week or every day.
Tickets now available. The club will book me next year to perform for that. With the 150th thing, they've got a stage in that now, so we need Fringe performances every year. I'll bring your Fringe with me, Tam.
Hey.
That'll get a few laughs. Hey. Right. We'll talk about Grant in the actual review, but I thought Grant was brilliant on Saturday, but we'll talk about that and then talk about the Rangers game. Other good news for Hearts, Stephen Kingsley pretty much about to be announced or rumoured that he's about to sign a new 3-year deal with Hearts. Kev, that no Hearts fan will complain about that, will they?
God, no. And if they do, they need to have a good hard look at themselves. It's, for me anyway, I think it's probably one of the best signings you could make, given the players that are at the club. Himself, maybe something like Frankie Kent, extending his already fairly. I think he's got another year and a half or 2 seasons yet to go. I think Frankie, but this is probably Kingsley's last big contract. I think he's 30. So if it's another 3 years, takes him to 33, probably no disrespect to him in any way, shape, or form, but unlikely he would move anywhere else. Of course, with the performances that he gave at the end of last season, there's no reason why he wouldn't maybe go on to a possibility of going to another club maybe in a year's time. But if he doesn't, I'm happily keep him for the remainder of that 3-year contract.
I think we're at a stage now, Kev, where we're probably more similar to Celtic in terms of where we are with the squad than like a Rangers and Aberdeen or a Hibs that are doing rebuilds. We've got a stable foundation of stuff where actually we can be strategic with who we sign, and guys like Kingsley are the foundations of good teams. Do you know what I mean? You want someone in there that's got good habits, is a good pro, that can help show people the ropes, can help bring people in. And the thing with Naismith is he's all about mentality and culture. And actually, that was a something that wasn't on here to talk about, but something that I found pretty stark in contrast to the two outlooks is Naismith on his interview after the game said felt like we should have won. Was very honest about the penalty, all that stuff. I think Jig was on Sports Sound. Liam McCulloch was on Sports Sound, giving it Hearts will be the one happiest with the point. And that was like the two mindsets. That was the Stephen Naismith played at the very, very top of the game. Robbie Nielsen played at a decent level and was obviously very successful with Hearts. So he understood Hearts, Robbie, knew what Hearts were all about. Naismith came away and came to the club. And I think that mentality, you can see the difference. Lee McCulloch and Robbie Nielsen would definitely have been like, point against Rangers, brilliant. That's something I can go to Budge and the board way and say, look, I got a point at home against Rangers. Naismith is coming in saying, I'm disappointed that we're going to get off free. And that difference in mentality is massive. And that's where guys like Kingsley are huge in the dressing room. I know I talk about it all the time, but obviously I would have loved us to have tried to sign Scotty in the summer, because I know that that's what he's like. I know that that's what he's like in the changing room. Set standards, doesn't let standards drop. He's never too high, never too low. But he's all about, this is how it needs to be. You play for a big club. So Kingsley signing a new deal is, I think that's massive for the club. Tam, you went away to answer your work calls. What's your thoughts on Kingsley signing?
I think you've just summed it up. He was one of our top performers last year in terms of centre half, which is class. He can obviously cover at left back, but I think what he brings is experience. We've got quite a young dressing room, so to have those sort of figures in there is ideal. And Kingsley is definitely one of them.
Yep. Which brings us on to the next thing today. We found out our potential opponents for the Europa League qualifier. Were either, where we're going, Prague or Ukraine?
Slovakia. Slovakia, aye.
Well, there we go. Do you have a preference? Well, let's have the discussion, because I've seen it in our community chat today. People discussing and weighing up the pros and cons of either being in Europa League or being in the conference. Do you have a preference, Tam? I'll start with you. Do you have a preference for which one you'd prefer to be in?
It's a hard one, because Europa League obviously comes with slightly a bit more money, probably a better calibre of team to go and play against, but I think there's probably more chance for us to go through in the conference and also help the coefficient, so that third going forward sort of helps us get more Europe.
You and your Tartan Army outlook.
It's not Tartan Army.
It's
just I like the fact if we finish third, we get a guaranteed £5 million rather than going and getting beat off whoever that
That's why
separates
you were
team from
chanting Rooney the other night, wasn't it? I thought you were just watching old Man United videos. It was because Sean Rooney scored for St Mirren, wasn't it? That's why you were loving it.
Aye,
Loves the
love the
coefficient.
coefficient. Love all Scottish football. I'll cheer all my heroes.
Kev, what's your thoughts?
I can see the argument for both. On a personal note, I said just before the show, I'd like us to get the Europa because that extends into January and February, and I can hopefully arrange a little trip somewhere for my birthday. That would be perfect. But I can understand why people are saying getting the conference. Yes, you maybe don't get as many games, but there's a greater chance that you can actually qualify for the next stages. So I can see both arguments. I'm just one of those people that I went enough years of not seeing Hearts playing in Europe and missing out on European trips. I'm just enjoying the fact that we're actually in Europe, whether that be in the Europa League or be in the conference.
Aye. I said it's whatever does best for the reputation of the club. You look at the pot that we're in and look at a couple of the teams in the pots above us and think, how are those teams, what they called the Boston Red Gimps or something like that? Does Robbie Nielsen no manage them, the Tampa Bay bench shots or whatever it is? For like, how are they higher on than us?
Aye.
The sensible answer is we hope they're in the conference because we can win games, we can make money by winning the games, and we've got the chance to actually progress in the competition. So that I absolutely buy into all that. But I'm kind of with you, Kev, but not because I want a trip in January or February. I would prefer Europa League just because again the calibre of the competition. It's another thing to add in the imaginary trophy cabinets. We played in the Europa League. Yeah, it's lifting our trophy. That means nothing. But I'd prefer to be in the more prestigious competition, just from a pure football snobbery point of view. We'll get battered every week. I understand that, but I just think
Gives us content to talk about.
well, no, not in Europe. We were last time. I didn't think we were that hard on Hearts in Europe the last time.
No.
At home was different because the performances at home weren't good enough, but away from home, those things happen. It's just about the day out and the experience. So let us know if you're listening. What's your preference, conference or Europa League? So the ties are when 2 weeks time. 2 weeks. The massive advantage for us is the fact that we're away from home first, and then bring them back to Tynecastle, a bit like Rosenborg, with the opportunity to actually progress into the group stage. I think that'll play a massive part, Tam.
Absolutely. I think you always want to have the home advantage, knowing exactly where you are after the first leg, and having the fans behind you and knowing if you have to go score one or two or whatever, we can get behind them. That sounded cheese there and I hated that. But but it's we've obviously spoken about Tynecastle under lights on a Thursday night. It'll be better and knowing exactly where we are and where we need to play. I think that'll be good. But I do worry because that Czech team seem a pretty good outfit. I think they'll be the ones to go through.
We'll wait and see. Like I said, we're in the draw, and that's better said than some of the other clubs in our city. And we'll maybe touch on them. We'll touch on them a bit later, but we'll keep focusing on Hearts first. Anything else Hearts related before I have a moan about the away section on Saturday? We get anything else kicking about? Any other rumours?
No, I think that's covered.
I think we'll probably be done though. Surely after this left back, do you think we would do any more business?
People out. I think we need to get some folk out.
Agreed.
It's a really difficult balancing act. But I think Naismith did the right thing with Sibic and Atkinson not bringing them on pre-season and sending them straight to the B team just so they're away from the group, because that's what killed us the last time with Robbie, and the season we were playing in Europe was the big inflated squad, and then you're out of Europe and you're playing normal football week in, week out, and the players that maybe thought that they could get a shot and be rotated are no longer getting a shot and being rotated, and that sours the dressing room. So I think we'll see some outs. I would see. Taga wasn't in the squad on Saturday. Has anybody spoke about why? Was he injured, illness, or just not make it?
I'm sure he was I'm sure he was photographed at the stadium coming in. They all come in from the sort of Gorgie Road end, and there was a few photographs. I'm sure I've seen him and Oda coming in together. So I do believe he was actually there, but just didn't make the squad.
Talking about those photos, by the way, how smart are those pre-match jackets? Just went up on that.
They are very nice.
Yeah.
They look very much like the ones that we made when we were doing our Gorgie Umbro retro classic jackets.
I did think that as well. Yeah.
It's almost like whoever designed them is one step ahead of the game. Isn't it? But I do enjoy those type of jackets. I've always liked those type of jackets. For way back in the day, the old training tops, it looked really nice. £75 is an absolute disgrace.
Is it? I didn't even know it was on sale.
That's how much it is.
Mental.
£75. That's outrageous. We spoke about it last week. And again, there's no obligation to buy it. Hearts only forcing you to go and buy it. It's not something people say, oh, I'm getting fleeced by the club. You don't get fleeced by the club. Getting fleeced is paying council tax and all that sort of stuff that you can't get out of then. Not unless Uche chaps your door and makes you go down the club shop and buy his magnets. Like, it's not happening. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't happen.
What that means is Corbett's our Santa for one.
Aye, that's true. That's true. Right. Saturday, we reduced Rangers' allocation a season 2 ago. Same with Celtic. We've done it a couple of times. 600, I think 640 is the official allocation for away tickets. There was no way in hell only 640 people in that away end on Saturday. You couldn't see the stairwells on either side of the section. The concourse was filled with people. Seen on Twitter and social medias and on Kickback that there were Rangers fans trying to double up into the main stand, running in on behind Hearts fans to get into the stadium. And it makes me want to raise the question, Kev, is it safer for Hearts fans if we just completely and utterly ban Old Firm fans from Tynecastle? And would anybody actually care if we did and they then reciprocated it and never gave us any tickets?
I don't think many fans would be that upset about not going to Parkhead or Ibrox once, twice a season, whatever it may be, due to the shitty way the league is actually set up. However, I think you might find some fans are slightly against the idea of having no away fans in the ground. My question around it is not the doubling up and everything else. It's not actually policing it properly. I know that's probably a bigger, wider question in today's society. However, we'll not delve into that particular shit cesspit of politics at the moment. But I think you've got to ask questions of why is it even given an option? There seems to be enough police hanging about doing absolutely hee-haw in and around, in the ground. Why are they not actually outside the ground actually policing it properly?
Well,
that's to me a question that needs to be looked at as well.
I actually think there's a new tactic across the board when it comes to policing crowds. If you look at the weekend's political riots or whatever, I think they're happy to stand back and watch, record, pick up CCTV images, and then do it after the fact. Go kick doors down, go get them, rather than inflaming a situation. And then you're looking at guys like the G4S guys and all that stuff looking to do something like a G4S. He's just a guy that's on minimum wage doing a job. He doesn't care. It's not his job to do that either. And to be fair, I obviously do blame Celtic and Rangers fans, but that's what I'm saying about giving them 600 tickets versus 3,000 or none. It actually feels more dangerous only giving them 600 tickets, because hospitality again behind me was full to brim with Rangers fans. Folk all over social media saying about there was, I think, trouble at the bottom of G. There were Rangers fans in G. There was people saying there was Rangers fans in the main stand. There's Rangers fans in the Roseburn. There's Rangers fans in the Gorgie. They're everywhere. And it's like, when we used to give them 3,500 tickets, we didn't have that problem. So we making ourselves a bigger issue by giving them 640? Are we not just better saying, listen, we don't want any tickets for Ibrox or Celtic Park, and you're not getting any tickets for Tynecastle. We don't want you in the stadium.
I do get that. My issue around the aspect of the police standing back, filming it, knocking on your door at 5:30 in the morning, or breaking your door down at 5:30 in the morning, is that's all good and well until something actually happens inside Tynecastle, where they've allowed it to actually happen and gone, we'll get them on Monday morning, we'll get them on Tuesday morning, but then the club are pulled through the actual depths of despair because of something actually happening in the ground. I think if you police it at that point and you let one person through, as should be the case, then from that point of view, you don't have to bother breaking down anybody's door on a Tuesday morning. But as I say, we're not going to get into the political discussion.
The issue is, though, the club can't be hypocrites in that sense when they allow hospitality to be full. I know we spoke about it last week, but the fact that hospitality never really sells out, but it sells out every time against the Old Firm, it's not full of Hearts fans. And
no.
Well, you look at it, and the other problem that we have if we want to get into it is the club, the debentures, the Ian Blacks, your Kev Kyles, all these guys with 2 tables of free tickets, filling them with their Rangers pals that can't get tickets. That's Kev. I've only seen Kev Kyle at Tynecastle twice or something, and both times we're in hospitality, both times with either his sons that support Rangers and their pals that support Rangers or whatever it is. Gary Naismith with Celtic pals, and like the club have got to make I know I keep saying it before, it's Hearts home stadium, and you put Hearts fans in a position like Kev just said there, if someday they jump up and celebrate and somebody hits them, it's them that get their door kicked in, and that's not fair because Hearts put them in that situation. They didn't go out looking for trouble. They didn't do that stuff. Somebody that doesn't support our team in a game that means something to us jumps up and celebrates in the home end and gets what they deserve. It's the person that hits them that gets the police and then the court and the banning order and maybe loses their job and all that stuff. And Hearts put them in that position. So, anyway, that was I remember looking over on Saturday and thinking, Jesus, look how many people are in that away end. There is no way there's only 640 folk in there. Hearts have to do something about it. They can't keep just blindly taking the money for hospitality and thinking that everything's fine, that it's all fine and well, because it didn't kick off. Kev's right. It shouldn't take a riot or proper trouble to kick off in the stand for Hearts to go, actually, this isn't right. This isn't right, putting Hearts fans in that position. So, and
it doesn't also have to be trouble. It could just be something quite as innocuous as they score, 3 or 4 folk fall over the set, a set of chairs in front of them, the seats in front of them, and take out another 4 folk, which then means 8, 12, 14. Before you know it, you've got a real problem on your hands. And the club need to have a look at that.
To be honest, Kev, though,
agreed.
After the last game of the season last season, I'm surprised nothing's changed, because that was pretty much on a knife edge to kick it off at one point, wasn't it? So,
yeah,
on the Gorgie anyway.
Yeah, and at least said it's something that the club can't keep ignoring. It needs addressed. Actually, there is one Hearts thing that we never spoke about: the Foundation of Hearts kit released.
I just happily not talk about it.
Again, I don't want to slaughter them. It's not our style. We said it last week, and I genuinely mean it. I've spoken to the guys at the Foundation of Hearts. I've got a good relationship with them. Again, it's just like you said, they're guys getting up their free time, volunteering, thinking that they're doing the right stuff. It's not a bad top. Like it's not the greatest top, right? It's a pretty poor effort, to be fair. Let's be honest, right? But the thing that annoys me the most is the fact that there's a pure mix of like block capital names, guys that haven't put any capitals in their name, and all they've literally done is they've clearly went to whoever's pledged and just pulled a register of everybody, or like my dad that's registered in block capitals because he doesn't know how to use his phone or whatever, and now they're printing it on a top. But again, this is a genuine thing. I know I said it last week, but I'm being serious this week again, that you have to let the Foundation of Hearts know that you want to be involved. If you've got ideas, if you think you can help them, they need our help like massively. The Foundation Hearts Day coming against Dundee United is a big, big day for the Foundation Hearts. Now, there's things planned for that day that I've said last week that I don't think are going to hit the mark or whatever, but we're asking everybody that listens to the podcast to ignore the cringe factor, or if it is, like you said, it's an attempt like the new kit and you don't think it's the right thing to do, just try and get behind it, because the people that are doing it are literally volunteering their time and they think they're doing a good job, right? So if we don't have people showing up to the meetings or volunteering to help or give ideas, this is what we'll get. So get in contact with us if you want to be a part. Message us. If you're in the community chat, talk to me in the community chat. Like I say, I go once a month to the marketing meetings when I can for the Foundation Hearts. So if you want to help or have ideas on how to help, get in touch, because you're just going to get things like that kit on repeat, and the big plan for the Dundee United game, which is going to make everybody on planet Earth cringe. So get in contact.
Foam fingers,
right?
Is it?
What I mean is not that far off it, man. Big foam 5-1 fingers. It is not that far off it. Right. Let's talk about the actual stuff that we're here to talk about. Heart of Midlothian versus Rangers on Saturday, opening game of the season. Was there any shocks in the starting 11 for you, Tam?
I was actually surprised we went with a back four, to be honest. I did think just the way we'd set up the week before, I thought we would have went back five, but I was pleasantly surprised to see that, to be honest. Other than that, can't say I was shocked with anyone who started. The midfield was always a wee bit who was going to be available at the time. Obviously, Boateng hadn't trained with the team, so he was never going to start. But I was fairly happy, to be honest.
Kev?
Yeah, I didn't see much of a change really from that starting lineup. I think for me, and I know we spoke about it last week, probably the one you could debate would be the starting of Mackay. And in all honesty, I thought he actually had a half decent game. Probably one of his better games against Rangers, in all honesty. From that point of view, you could have started Oda, or kept Vargas out that way. You know, there's plenty of options now. Again, go back to what we spoke about earlier on about places and the challenge of players who maybe didn't start, what they've got to do to get themselves into the starting lineup, or at least get themselves on the bench. But no, I think all in all, I think that was probably where we expected it to be, knowing that Kingsley wasn't 100% fit and neither was Benny.
In regards to Mackay, though, I thought you spoke about earlier, Corbett, in terms of mentality and stuff, but the first thing he done was lost the ball, sprinted 10 yards, and then made a good challenge. And how often do we see that from Mackay? And it was just a complete change in mentality, so it was good to see from him.
Everybody that knows me knows I've battled Barry Mackay for nearly 18 months. And I've said my caveat to that always has been that if he gets fit and plays under Naismith regularly, he won't be allowed to do that. Naismith won't allow that type of performance that has become a Barry Mackay performance, because he'll lose his place in the team. He won't play. He won't play out of sentiment. He has to perform. I thought Barry Mackay was brilliant on Saturday. He made at least two tackles, won 2 50-50s. He had 2 shots on goal and gave us all the Barry Mackay stuff that we like about Barry Mackay, making good passes, making good runs, chasing runners. I liked everything I seen from Barry Mackay on Saturday. My thing before the game started, when I seen the starting 11, was, and the elephant in the room for ages, and I don't know if we spoke about it at length last week, has been the Gordon versus Clark debate. You know, Naismith was in the press saying that basically we've got 2 number ones and we'll rotate them, and they're both good goalkeepers. And I love Craig Gordon to bits. Everybody knows that, right? Craig Gordon's the greatest player that's ever played for Hearts, apart from Taylor, but we'll talk about that in a minute. He's genuinely the only player that we genuinely could have an argument to say has played for us and has been a world-class player. And I'm talking at the height of his powers, he could have went and played for any side in the world and he would have got a game and held his own. I love him. He's 42 years old. Yes, he probably backs himself, and I love the fact that he backs himself, but there's no future in Craig Gordon other than we want to give him a send-off. You want him to go out where he can get the adulation for the crowd, where we can thank him for his years and years and years of service, for his unbelievable. It's been a joy to watch him in goals, but the time has come for us to say that Craig Gordon can't start for Hearts and start backing Xander Clark. I think Xander Clark has got a mistake in him. I think that, but so's Craig Gordon. Look at Craig Gordon versus Livy last year. Raced at his box, gave the ball straight to the boy, and the boy scored. Goalkeepers make mistakes, but Xander Clark made like 2 unbelievably good saves on Saturday. And he also, and he gets bonus points for it because I heard him. He absolutely roasted Kyrils, and I loved every minute of it. And it was in the first half when it went out for a corner, and he shouted to him, "Kai, you are fucking miles off it." And I was like, yes, you are, Kyrils. Get a haircut. Learn how to play defence. Yeah, so maybe I'm biased. They said that, but it was good to see. It was good to see Clark start, because my worry was that, and I've said it before on other pods, that you drop Clark and play Gordon, you're basically telling Xander Clark to go find a new club. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, that's essentially what you're telling him. And Hearts fans that are in Dreamland saying, "Oh, play Clark in the league and then play Gordon in Europe," and as if Xander Clark's going to be happy with that and pat Gordon on the back or what? Like, come on, that's not happening. That's not happening. So it was good to see that on Saturday that Clark started, and the rest of the starting 11, I think, took care of itself. Kev, were you going to say something there?
I was just going to. So we all know perfectly well. A couple of seasons ago, Xander Clark didn't have a club. It was Craig Gordon actually came out to say that's the player to bring in to this club to effectively replace himself. So we're now in that particular position. We're now, and Craig Gordon can't really say anything about it. It was him that told us to actually sign him. We signed him. He's now going to replace Craig Gordon. And you're right. Craig Gordon is in our lifetime the best ever player. People who have maybe been a little bit older, even than me, can maybe argue about others. Of course, who have played for the club, but he will go down on the same level as these guys. Your Balds, Wardhaw, all these guys, Cruikshanks, even himself as a goalkeeper. All these guys, Craig Gordon will go down in the same folklore and on the same level as those guys. That's how good he is.
Yeah. And I think like Craig Gordon backs himself, and I love that about him. He'll feel that he can play football for as long as he wants, and he's not going to chap the door and say, "Like, stop playing me," or "I'm not going to play." He basically got told he'd never play football again, and spent 2 years getting fit, training with any football club that would let him train to get back playing, and went back on to get record caps for Scotland, playing cup finals for Hearts, playing Europe with Hearts, all that sort of stuff. So the guy's determination is absolutely second to none. But I think that Naismith's has made the right choice in terms of we stick with Clark as the number one. I think he has to be the number one. Right, we've dodged around talking about it all day, but Gerard Taylor is, quite frankly, the greatest player that's ever played for Hearts Town. Argue against me, tell me that I'm lying. What a football player.
Agreed. As I said earlier in the community chat, we were talking about the option to buy and whatnot. I hope the option to buy comes with a 10-year deal and we just sign it straight away tomorrow, because unbelievable. And it says a lot that all over social media, whatnot, other fans were saying how good he is. Other fans were asking, is he a Hearts player? Aye. Brilliant. And you know what I really liked as well? Stephen Naismith coming out and saying that he thinks he can improve him as well, which says a lot about him.
Yeah. Kev, he was shooting for throw-ins. I love that. He was doing anything. He did anything he wanted. I've said 1,000 times, what I say to my dad all the time, at our level of football, just try something. I didn't care if it goes out for a bye kick, throw in, whatever. Just try something. That's all. Remember when John Cahoon on the podcast, he said play for Hearts was the easiest thing on planet Earth because all you had to do was try your best. That's what he said. He was like, you try skin your man and you don't, and he wins the ball back off you, if you run and try and win it back, you'll get a round of applause. If you knock it past your man and sprint your fastest and the ball just runs out of play and you get a bye kick, they'll applaud you. Do you know what I mean? Like literally, all they want is for you to try your best, and they'll cheer you every single time. And that's exactly what Taylor did on Saturday. He had that boy on toast. He's woke up in Moda or wherever it is on Sunday morning being like, what the fuck am I doing in here? And Taylor has went, get back in that pocket. I'll tell you when you load it. He absolutely roasted him all game.
100%. And I was trying to find it there. I was reading a report on Sunday morning that gave that boy Cortez man of the match. And I'm like, how?
Was it Keith Jackson? Was it?
What bloody, what fucking game were you watching? He was nowhere near man of the match, that boy. He was that embarrassed he actually went off after about 60 minutes. I thought, again, going back to what I said earlier on about Penrice, that's his first competitive game. And if that's the kind of level that we get from him week in, week out, I'm in agreement with both. We sign that contract as quickly as possible before his primary club, whatever you want to call them, actually say, you know what, we're going to add an extra $500,000 here. However, an extra $500,000 might not be a bad shout.
If Keith Jackson is listening, you are a Tangy Tom looking greasy wank. There you go. Wow. Just in case you were listening.
We're looking for sure.
For that headline.
An absolute
sleazeball.
I watched it. I don't know why, because obviously I clickbaited, because that's what they do. A 30-second clip saying how the Rangers board were locked in the boardroom and the bid was imminent. That was almost 10 days ago, and there's still been no bid. So, but he had his shirt unbuttoned. He looked ridiculous, like a Tangy Tom with shades on. So, an absolute reprobate. But
Tangy Tom with shades.
Taylor was unbelievable. Every time his defending, everybody will talk about his runs, his attacking play, all that sort of stuff. But defensively, he was brilliant. He was absolutely superb, strong, determined, can pick a pass, followed his man, and at every opportunity he could, went past a player or took a player on or whatever. Like I said, he was swerving throw-ins, man. I was like, how is he doing that? Like, how is that happening? How is he managing to do? He was doing out-swinging throw-ins, man. Never seen that.
He was hacked off. He was hacked off about 70 minutes into the game because Penrice was taking a throw-in on the other side of the pitch. He came over as if to say, I want to take this in as well. Brilliant.
It's my flipping throw-in. I'm so cheesed off, flipping man. Right. I'm so cheesed off, man.
You can tell he's
but he was.
You can tell he's came for a team that win cups, win leagues, because he's just got no fear, which I love. And that should be the market, as we've spoke about. Should be the one we're looking at. Players that are actually already winners, rather than coming from Newcastle Jets or wherever it is. And yeah.
And listen, I think, like you said, Hearts' transfer policy over the last wee while has been good. We spoke about last week about Joe Savage clearing out the deadwood and putting a proper structure in before. And I don't mind Hearts taking a punt on a player, but the difference is that for every punt that we've brought in 2 players that know the league. So do you know what I mean? Like, instead of bringing in 3 punts and Glenn Whelan, like, you balance it out so you can say, right, well, we took a punt on Tagawa, it's maybe not working, but we've looked and brought in Danda, or we've brought in Spittle, someone from the league that understands it. So that transfer policy makes sense. And then if you do manage to unearth a gem like Vargas, I'm going to talk about Vargas later, Taylor, then you've done your job. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it works for the club. But yeah, I thought Taylor was brilliant. I'm supposed to be going to Bolton this weekend, but I'm not. I'm patching him. I'm not seen him for 2 years, but I want to go see Taylor instead. So I'm going to Dundee to watch Taylor because he is my new favourite Hearts player. It'll be interesting to see how he does on Saturday. A minging pitch and a minging town playing against a dog shit team. He'll either have the game of his life or he'll be injured and finished.
It'll be. It should be a decent pitch though this time.
Well, so they say. So they say, Kev, we'll wait and see. But I thought I thought that as much as I've had a pop at Royals, I actually thought the whole backline played really well. There was a couple of moments where Kenton was really canny play against Dessers. He actually should have scored 2, but one, we rely on the fact that Dessers is shite. I quite liked when we were singing "You're Just a Shite Lauren Shanklin."
We laughed at that. I actually thought it was funny.
which was quite funny and gave us a wee bit of a thumbs up, which I thought was quite good. And the irony of the fact they scored like 6 goals in 8 games against us or something like that was quite funny.
Have you ever seen a ball hit the post and the bar then the post? That was quite unlucky.
Well, that was someone else.
That was an unbelievable header from Rouse, and the only benefit of him having a mullet was that it managed to deflect that onto the post and bar. But I thought the whole back 5 played really, really well. So defensively we were good on Saturday. I actually thought Grant and Devlin were brilliant as well in the midfield. Maybe a reflection of how poor Rangers are in the middle of the park. We couldn't get near Cantwell and Lundstrom last season. We spoke about that in the podcast before. But Grant playing in the low-lying, sort of sitting, dictating tempos, passing was brilliant. He made the right choices, he made tackles, and then Devlin being Devlin run about. And it's no coincidence, Tam, that we kind of fell out of the game in a sense, or it gave Rangers a chance to grow into the game. Literally coincided when Devlin got booked for literally nothing, and we'll talk about that Rat Walsh in a minute. But what was your thoughts? Someone, I don't know who it is, but someone's been talking about for ages about how George Grant is like a really good football player, and would be one of the first names on the team sheets for Hearts, but I can't remember who it is. I think it was the same guy that talked about, remember that guy last year said if Alan Forrest got the same amount of time as Barry Mackay, he'd be like a brilliant player and score goals for Hearts. And I remember that guy. I can't remember who that was.
To be honest, I'm glad he's not got a podcast or anything like that.
Nah, again.
Sounds like a right dick.
But
what was your thoughts on Grant and Devlin?
Right, to be honest, that maybe was a bit of a worry going into the game because you said it there, but the midfield for Rangers had battered us for 6 games last year. But Grant he just carried on from what he done against. Was it the Spurs friendly he played in the 6? Aye. Yeah. And I did think he looked really good there. And again, and as you say, Devlin, he done absolutely everything that he's good at as well and concentrated on that. And as you say, once he got booked, it kind of took that part of his game, which did led to the Rangers kind of getting back in it. But what I really liked about the two of them as well, I don't know if you noticed this, but they every time either wing-back went forward, they were cutting in. So we're not overloaded on the break. They were letting both fullbacks get up the park, and I thought that tactic was really good, and it was clearly explained before the game as well. Which Devlin kept going in for Taylor or Grant for Penrice, whatever way around, and it worked.
Yep, everything that we didn't see in pre-season.
Yeah,
like genuinely. Everything we never seen in pre-season. So it was great to see it on Saturday, which was good. Like I said, I thought we've got loads of cover there in midfield, so it'll be interesting to see how the players that are there, Benny, Hoff, Boateng, how they all sort of slip in and stuff. But the opening 25 minutes, I thought we rotated well, pressed well, we were aggressive. The other thing we've spoke about Mackay, but I was really impressed with Vargas and Shanklin's relationship. It was brilliant. All right, it didn't bear any fruit on Saturday, but there was a clear, like you said, tactic of when we were building through the lines, wanting to be more methodical and build a move. We were into feet to Shanklin, popping off, playing into the wing backs, etc., letting him be involved. And when we needed a release or we wanted to stretch Rangers, we put Vargas in long. Vargas had Davies and Suter on toast all game. They could not handle how quick he is. And to the Hearts fans that maybe say, yeah, Vargas probably, it's funny because last season Vargas, when he first signed, was too greedy, shooting and head down and all that. There was a point Saturday we probably should have got his head up made a decision a bit quicker, but he's also been 2 or 3 weeks behind everybody else in terms of pre-season. Him and Shankland in the same boat. I just think I'm willing to put that down to that's just match sharpness. That's just rustiness as to where we are. But what I liked the most about it, Kev, was the fact that we identified that it was working and we kept doing it. And that's what I really liked about Hearts on Saturday.
Yeah, and I've said it before. You can never question Vargas's work rate. There was a moment in the second half. He got quite a hard challenge on him, and he actually sort of signalled to Naismith to say that was it. I'm out. I've had enough. And Naismith turned around and told him to fuck off and get on with it. Which maybe is something that he would have got away with in his previous club, but no, show them that you're stronger. Show them you've got that determination. And I think that's one thing that he's brought a hell of a lot of, especially in the last 6 months. He's become a lot more wiser to the game. And as you rightly say, there was times on Saturday where playing the ball down the line, pulling Suter out, pulling Davis out, whoever it was, they didn't like coming out of that position because they probably are a little bit worried about that space that's then left behind them. And I'm not going to diss Rangers' defence in any way, shape or form. Yes, I am. But they're shite. It's as simple as that. That particular Rangers back four, if you go back to Rangers teams of even 10 years ago, they would never even, none of the players would ever get in that side. It's as simple as that. And that's maybe why some fans would have walked out on Saturday a little bit disappointed.
Yeah, but I think that for me is a very good sign from Hearts and the way it should be when we play at home. You walk out with disappointed to not beat Rangers or Celtic, having not lost yourself is progress, and it was good. My one thing about Vargas that I would say is that he needs to get a wee bit more streetwise with the whole falling, and because he was being grappled, etc. But he just needs to be a bit more smarter with how he influences the referee. If you know what I mean, there was legitimate cases for fouls on Saturday, but just the way he goes down, and I know that folks are, well, if he's been pulled down, he's been pulled down. It doesn't matter how it goes to, but I think he just needs to wisen up, be a wee bit more street smart when it comes to those type of things, and he'll maybe start to get decisions. Because Tam, we've said that a million times before, but the referee on Saturday, and I'm not even talking about the VR decision. I think they got that VR decision right. My thing with that is, well, let's be consistent. Let's see next week if that's a Rangers situation, is the referee still going to be as, no, that's no a penalty, is what it was for us. But I'm looking more at, well, your big man, Daniel, number 5, Danielson, gets booked 5 minutes on. He gets booked 5 minutes into his game. Devlin's booked for his first tackle. Barron doesn't get a booking the whole time. I don't think Ridvan get booked either, constantly fouling. Cortez, Diamande or whoever it was, chucked the ball away when he didn't get a throw in that he wanted. He threw it away. Didn't get a booking. Kai Rowles got a booking for a high foot. John Suter volleyed. Lon Shanklin, he didn't get booked. It's all those things that bug you as a fan, where, and I said to my dad on Saturday, I didn't care about refs getting the big decisions wrong as much, because they can make mistakes, right? But what bugs me is the pressure that Celtic and Rangers put on the referees means that they get every single innocuous 50-50. There was a point in the injury time, the boy in the middle of the park, he just fell, and the referee gave them a foul, gave him a free kick, because he clearly hadn't seen it, didn't know what it was. But he's like, if that was a foul and I've missed it, and Hearts go up the pitch and score, my name's going to be on every football phone in. It's going to be in every press, every highlight. They're going to be talking about me. I've got to go to work on Sunday, Monday, whatever it is. My family are going to get battered. My name's going to get pulled through the ringer because I made a mistake. So every single 50-50, was that our throw in? Is that a corner? Is it no? It always, always, always goes to Celtic and Rangers, because the referee goes, well, if I didn't know, I'll just get to them because it's the safest of the two options. And that bugged me on Saturday. No consistency with what they were doing. Devlin booked for his first tackle, but yet Barron didn't get a booking once. I think he got booked by the time he went off. I think was it Diamande was the first Rangers player booked, and it was about 65 minutes into the game. We already had 2 players on bookings, so Walsh was terrible. He was terrible. Also, the thing that bugged me was there was a bit in the first half where Xander Clark caught the ball and they backed into him and he fell quite awkwardly on the ground.
Aye.
The referee never even paid any attention, never stopped the game. Didn't he come over? It wasn't until like the Hearts players were like, actually, he's maybe hurt here, that the referee was like, oh, better go check and see if he's all right. So, again, just inconsistent, but I get hands up. I think he got the penalty decision right by the new rules. Let's see how that plays
You'll
out.
find well though.
And
There'll be an exact similar one this Saturday, Sunday, and it'll go the opposite way.
100%. 100%. It's always the way. It's always the way. Anybody else catch your eye on Saturday?
I don't think we spoke about Jan Danda, but I thought he was brilliant. Technically, he's clearly really good on the ball, and he was very unlucky with that shot that hit the bar. But yeah, I just think having that type of player will be good in comparison to last year, where we maybe struggle to break down defences. Having him going forward will be good.
I like how confident he is. That's the thing I like about him.
Have you ever seen anyone
even his
try a
words after
Rabona in a game as well?
Rabona, I can. It was good. I appreciated it. But it was even his comments, Kev, they're bullish and nonsense. We're not going to win the title, I get it. But it just shows you he spoke about, I wanted to play for this club for the minute I played here and come up, and he knows what it means, and he sounds like he really wants to step his game up and relish the fact that he plays for us. And for me, I love all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think we spoke about it last week with regards to his family. When they moved here, they've had season tickets at Tynecastle for the last sort of 15 years. He knows perfectly well through that association with his family of what it means to play for the club. He spoke about 2 years ago his first game for Ross County was against Hearts at Tynecastle, and just sort of said for that point onwards, this is where I feel I need to be. This is the next level for me. I love that. Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. But his performance on Saturday definitely showed that he's got that ability to take it to a next level. I'd be interested to see whether Boateng or Benny comes back, if you move Grant forward. I'd like to see what Grant and Danda could do in that sort of position at the front of or the more advancing midfield. Whether it would be available, because you've then got Spittle and you've got loads of different choices and everything else going in there. But I think the two of them would work really well in a more forward position.
Yeah, and I think Tam, the substitutions were a big thing for me. The game, by the last 10-15 minutes, it was really sloppy. Both teams, first game of the season, made loads of changes, and the shape of the game and all that had been disrupted. But what I found really telling, and what was a real positive for Barry Mackay, was the fact that Tav wasn't in the game for the whole game, and then we took Barry Mackay off and brought Forrest on, and then Tav started to dictate that down that side, because Forrest just wasn't providing anywhere near the same cover to Penrice as what Barry Mackay was. And again, it was just one of those things that noticed at the game that we kind of had an imbalance there with Forrest, because I don't think defensively Alan Forrest is, you don't bring him on for his defensive stuff. He's there to try and stretch the team, stretch the game and get in behind or whatever. But it's another wee tip of the hat to Barry Mackay, because he managed to keep Tav pretty quiet throughout the whole game. But what was your thoughts on the other subs that came on?
It was quite hard to tell, to be honest, because it seemed to me it was quite late in the day for a few of the subs, certainly the last three. Like you said earlier, maybe a Vargas or a Taylor could have maybe came off a wee bit earlier because they were maybe a bit blown. I know they were having good games, so you don't really want to disrupt that. But I think it's hard to judge, say, Spittle, Forrest on that.
I thought Spittle
I thought he was all right, actually, to be fair. But
I thought Spittle did well. He's bigger and stronger than I thought he was going to be. One header's got stuck in. Made good passes, made good decisions. I thought that was a good substitution. I agree. The other two, you kind of really tell other than getting booked for absolutely nothing. I don't think they had anything to do at that stage in the game, but it was very promising. I think the disappointing part for Hearts, but again, we always go about this. If you start talking about this, and you have to look at both sides of the coin, is that if we're a wee bit more clinical, took maybe one of our chances, then we probably should have, and probably did do enough in the game to win it. But then Rangers hit the post and bar. Xander Clark's made a brilliant save, and Dessers has missed two sitters. So you've got to take the positives out of it, which is one. I don't think Rangers look great, and given their run of fixtures, they've got a team that I think won 9-2 in the Champions qualifiers. I think they play them either tomorrow or Wednesday, and they've got the Cup in a couple of games, and then by the 1st of September they play Celtic at Celtic Park, and I think they could be. It feels not to turn into the Heart and Hand podcast, but it's a bit like us when we were with Robbie or Levine or whatever. You get to a point with a manager where it feels inevitable, and you think, why are we going down this path? Like, we know how it's going to end, we know where it's going, and I'm like that watching Rangers. Like Kev said, that team's absolutely ganting. Yeah, that team's absolutely rubbish. I think Connor Barron was the only new signing that they signed that played on Saturday. Take Butland out of the team, and that side's there for the taking in second. It's just about, like you said, balance the workload between Europe and new guys bedding in. Yeah, we had a good result on Saturday, but it puts we now have to go to Dundee and win. You can get nice performances for 90 minutes on Saturday, but we need points on the board. So, but I think we've got like 4 away games in a row or something like that, didn't we? We got Dundee, then Falkirk, then Motherwell, and then the European game.
Aye. And then back to Dundee, right?
And then back for Dundee United. So we need to go and put a marker down. Obviously, Aberdeen's won tonight. I think St Mirren looked very good against a very poor Hibs team on Saturday. So, yeah. And then Celtic just looked light years above everybody. So that's a no-brainer for that. So we're just talking about that. Dundee away on Saturday. What's your thoughts? Do you make changes to that team? Do you stick with the starting 11? What would you do, Tom?
Me, I probably wouldn't make changes, but it's Stephen A. Smith's Hearts, and he's literally said it in the last week that he doesn't like having a set 11. He done it once in his last season, so I think there will be changes. Couldn't tell you what that would be, to be honest with you. Possibly seems harsh on Penrice, but if the new boy comes in, might go straight in. I don't know. I don't know. You might see a Spittle start, maybe. I think there will be changes though, but I couldn't tell you what they would be.
I think if Saturday was an indication of Penrice for Kingsley, maybe. If they're going to play Kingsley as a left back, maybe. But then the attacking intent of, I watched the Dundee derby yesterday, and they don't look great, and they look but if you look at both Dundee United goals, they were fast pace, attacking their backline that looked pretty slow and static. I think that's calling out for a Penrice, a Taylor, a Vargas, Dander, in and around Shankland, who's deadly. So the only thing maybe would be if we went to 3 at the back and put Kingsley in there, so that you got that bit more, maybe lose someone in the middle, maybe lose Grant for a Devlin or wherever, maybe Devlin drops out. Maybe Barry Mackay. Maybe take Barry Mackay out and you push forward. But the good options to have, I think Kev's right. I don't think you bring the new signings in and play them there. They might play Boateng actually.
Yeah, maybe
put Boateng in there, given that he's played Dundee.
That would be my change. My change would be Devlin. I thought he was the only player on Saturday that, I'm not saying didn't get pass marks, that's not what I'm saying at all, but there was certain times in the match on Saturday where his decision making was to be questioned, let's put it that way, especially towards the end of the game when he decided to pass to, I think he passed to Rowles, which was like one of the worst decisions he could have made, given the players that were round about Rowles anyway. But my change would be for Devlin to drop and bring in Boateng. I think him sitting there, which would allow Grant to move on a little bit further, maybe have a bit more control in the game, with a back 3.
Yeah, I think you sort of control the midfield. They had that Silla, McCowan, and Cameron in the midfield for Dundee yesterday. Pretty, other than Silla, they're pretty wee guys. So if you got to go dominate the ball or whatever. So, yeah.
The other thing I would like to do as well, and if Naismith is listening this week, can you put somebody up when they're having a corner? Because they quite clearly do not defend during corners. How that boy actually missed that one is still beyond me.
I don't know. He tried to be too smart, didn't he? He
did everything right. He just didn't. I don't think he got enough on the ball to actually lift it over the keeper.
We didn't actually discuss corners, but how good is it to see we actually beat the first man?
Did we? Because I remember the first corner, Dan.
The first one didn't, but it got better.
No, it did got worse. The first corner was brilliant because Kent or Rowles almost scored for it.
Kent did actually.
It was a brilliant corner for Dander, and then we let Barry Mackay take them.
That was a good point. It did change. Spittle's delivery was good. To be fair.
Aye, to be fair, with the long throw-ins and that as well, it's something to mix it up. How often have we seen Hearts rush to take a throw-in to throw it backwards?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? On Saturday, we were throwing them right into the mixer, which we've spoken about before when we've played. You play your Kilmarnocks and your Craig Levines and all that sort of stuff, all the old school managers that know you put balls into the box, throw-ins into the box, it's chaos theory. You know, you might win first contacts, but you've got no control over where that goes to, how it drops, how it bounces. You might get a deflection, a flick on, or whatever. So it was good that we had that tactic as well. You can launch out swinging throw-ins into the box, which was crazy. Right, let's do then. Before we wrap it up, let's do Dundee predictions. Tam, what's your prediction for Dundee versus Heart Midlothian on Saturday?
We did kind of struggle there last season, didn't we? But I'm going to be confident we'll win 3-0.
We got beat 1-0 with a ridiculous Aidan Denham mistake and then beat them 3-2.
Okay. Yeah, my memory's class.
Well, that's because when you were at that particular game where we got beat, Tam, you were pished.
Aye, but I thought the second game went the same way. So
we were 2-0
down.
We were 2-0 down and 1-3-2.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
Right, so you're saying 3-0. Who's scoring for Heart of Midlothian?
Shanks, Vargas, Taylor.
Magic. Kev?
I think if we go with a back three, I think we'll have a clean sheet again, and I'll go 2-0.
Good, okay. I'm going to go Desmond. I'll say a Desmond.
We're back in.
We're back in. Well, I predicted we wouldn't win last week, so I can't say we'll win this week or we'll lose. So we'll say I'll go middle of the road. I'll say 2-2. We'll say a draw. Shanklin to open his account. Because again, I think we scored 4 goals in pre-season. So we need to start firing. We did this last season as well. Started pretty slow with the goals. I think Shanklin scored opening game against St Johnstone and then didn't score again until the 4-1 home defeat against Celtic in the October. He obviously scored in Europe, but in the league.
Drought in the league, he just
gave
everyone else a head start. That was it.
I just gave them a head start again and let other people hit penalties and all that as well. He was just taking a piss last year. He'll be fully focused this year. Cool. Right. Well, here's hoping for another positive, happy clapping episode of This Is My Story podcast next week. I'll see you all later.
Good.
See you later.
Gargoyles.